Okay, good day, folks. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Welcome to another episode of Andrew's Life. I'm here in the state of Georgia. I'm not going to give you guys any specifics of where I'm at right now because for my own protection. But just know I'm in Georgia, and I'm going to be in Georgia for a few more days, give or take, doing some videos of some of the major areas of Georgia. Now, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm not going to be doing anything in the greater Atlanta area because that part of Georgia, I'm going to just due to how big it is and how much traffic is in that part of Georgia, I'm going to have to do that area later. I'm going to have to wait until I got enough time to where I can go into the greater Atlanta area and spend a considerable amount of time there. So, anyhow, I just want to kind of share how I feel about Georgia so far. Now, I mean, so far, I've been to southern Georgia. I've been to Columbus, Georgia, in many of the areas within an hour of Columbus. The other day, I was in Macon, and I did some of the areas, close to Macon. And I'm going to make my way to the other side of Georgia and do some of those areas. But I just want to share with you guys how I feel about Georgia so far. Now, I told you guys, now I got a post on this channel, and I listed 3 different cities that I've considered moving to. I mean, one was, of course, Fort Wayne, Indiana. One was Augusta, and then the other one was it's Fort Wayne, Augusta, and Columbus. And I meant to add Athens. I thought about adding Athens, but eventually, on this trip to Georgia, I'm gonna make it to Athens, and I'm gonna drive through Athens and spend a little bit of time there, and I'm gonna do some of the areas close by Athens as well. Now, for those of you guys that have been following me recently, I've done plenty of videos in Fort Wayne. I've done plenty of videos in the Northeast Indiana region recently. And I would say for the most part, I'm pretty, I think Fort Wayne's got a lot of good things going for itself. I mean, in my opinion, the people there are nice. It's a welcoming environment for people who are not from the area. I mean, yeah, I used to live in Indiana, but I did not live in Northeast Indiana. I lived more so in the middle of the state. But when I went to Fort Wayne, I was thoroughly pleased with the city. I really was. I thought it was a wonderful city. The infrastructure there is wonderful. They have a fairly decent economy for those who need to go there and find a job and work. I mean, there's a couple of people who I've been speaking to, and they do gig work there. They do stuff like DoorDash and Uber and things of that nature, and they stay fairly busy up there. They make their money. So, and also, there's a lot to do in Fort Wayne. Now, granted, Fort Wayne's not going to be comparable to, when it comes to entertainment, obviously, if you go to Fort Wayne looking for Chicago, you're not going to get it. It's not that type of a city. But for what Fort Wayne is, Fort Wayne does have a lot of things to do, many of which are not that expensive to do. And housing prices right now, compared to other metro areas, Fort Wayne is one of the most affordable places out here. It's not the cheapest, but it's very affordable. So shout out to Fort Wayne. However, one of the reasons why I'm here in Georgia is because I'm checking out a few places here in Georgia. Now, I looked at the post, and you know, most of you who answered that post I put up is like, I think I put it up like a month and a half or so ago, and the vast majority of you so far are saying that if you were in my shoes looking for a place to live, you would pick Fort Wayne over all the other places I've listed. So, you know, one of the reasons why I'm here in Georgia is because I wanted to thoroughly check out Georgia. Now, when I get done making this trip through Georgia, am I going to know everything there is to know about Georgia? Of course not. To say I would be ridiculous. But I do feel I'll know enough about Georgia to be able to make a more sound decision on whether or rather not I would want to reside to Georgia if I were to choose to sell my current residence in Alabama. Now, I will say, I've been here in Georgia since Sunday, and today is Thursday. And I will say one thing about Georgia. Although when it comes to poverty, I do see a lot of similarities here in the state of Georgia as in Alabama. Like, like when I did I don't want to give too much away here, but yeah, I do see a lot of similarities to some of the poverty that's here in Georgia as the poverty in Alabama. However, one thing which I will say for the behalf of Georgia so far is, and I would love for anyone that knows about Georgia and knows about Alabama, or you at least know about Georgia, I would love for you guys to drop a comment below. But anyways, as far as what I think about Georgia so far, I mean, the people here seem to be a little bit more sociable compared to Alabama. Now, and another thing I noticed a little more about Georgia, now for those of you that look like me and you interracial date and know I'm not one of these individuals that have anything against people, that have anything against the females that have my same skin complexion. I'm just saying I don't discriminate. You know, she could be black, white, I don't care. Don't matter. I don't discriminate. But for those of you that interracial date, and maybe you're looking for a place to reside, and you're looking at residing in the South because you might be from the North, and you're looking for a lower cost of living, or you're looking for a region of the country that offers warmer weather where you don't have to worry about snow and all that wonderful stuff. I mean, I'm going to do a quick comparison, like compared to what I've seen throughout my trip and my time that I've lived in Alabama so far versus what I've seen in Georgia. To me, like I said, people in Georgia appear to be more sociable, and I also see a lot more interracial dating in Georgia than I see in Alabama. And another thing about Georgia, which I notice is many of your cities down here are growing, and therefore there tends to be more traffic here in Georgia compared to many places I've been to in Alabama. So here in Georgia, here in Georgia, the population is more diverse, and like I said, there's more interracial dating for those of you that interracial date. And people here appear to be a little bit more sociable than Alabama. And like I said, I would love to hear from you guys of how you guys feel about what I just said. And the people who I want to hear from are people that know Alabama and they know Georgia, or they at least know one of the two. I mean, if you're living somewhere in, let's say, Ohio, and you've never been to either one of these states, unless you're gonna drop a comment in the form of asking me a question, don't bother commenting. But anyways, that's what I noticed about. That's why I noticed about Georgia so far. Now, I will say that so far, the most welcoming people, in my opinion, so far have been in Fort Wayne. Now, the major thing I dislike about Fort Wayne is the climate. Like, to be honest with you, folks, if Fort Wayne was here in the deep South, or if Fort Wayne was, I don't know, in Tennessee, I would have probably packed up my stuff, I would have put my house on the market and began packing probably, I don't know, 3 weeks ago when I first got back from Fort Wayne. I'm just saying. But that's one of the main things that's stopping me from moving to Fort Wayne is the fact that up there it is cold. I mean, is it Minnesota cold? Is it Wisconsin cold? Is it North Dakota cold? Not at all. But I was up in Fort Wayne just in April. And even in the month of April, there were still days to where the temperature highs were only in the, I mean, there were days where the temperature highs were only in the 40s. And the lows were dropping to the 30s. Now, of course, if you're in that region of the country, that's normal. Now, I grew up in the greater Cleveland area, so, it's not that I'm not used to that type of weather. It's just that if I can avoid it, I prefer to live somewhere a little warmer, somewhere with a little bit more sun. So that's what brings me to Georgia. I mean, other than the fact that I would like to show you guys some of Georgia for the sake of my channel, I also came to Georgia for my own personal purposes, just to see if I would possibly want to move here to Georgia. Now, as far as me selling my house in Alabama, it's not anything that, yes, I'm going to do, no, I'm not going to do. Right now, it's up in the air. Right now, it's up in the air. That's the best way I can put it. So yeah, drop a comment below. Let me know how you feel about what I just said. And I will see you guys on the next video. You guys have a good day.